Something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover.
Hey, it's Nate, and today I am doing the classic Something by the Beatles. I didn't think I could love this song anymore, but digging deep in preparation for this video, I was just constantly blown away by the chord progression and melody. Also, a great feature of this song is Paul's incredibly creative bass line, though it takes a good amount of left-hand dexterity and rhythm independence to reproduce it. So first, I'm going to teach you the foundation of the piano accompaniment chords for an easier version. Then I'll add in some optional left-hand bass parts which you can pick and choose from for your version. Let's jump in. All right, so first off, I recommend you get the chords and lyrics chart. There's a link down in the description that's going to help you follow along and see where the chords and the lyrics line up with each other. We'll start out with the intro. It's going to sound like this. Here's the underlying chords, and I want to point out this song is in 4/4 time, so each measure gets 4 counts, and we're going to think a fast 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So at its core, this intro is F, 2, 3, 4, E flat, 2, G over D, 4. But here's all the notes and counts for this part to get a little bit more specific. We have at the bottom the left-hand bass notes, the F. So here's middle C. I am, almost 2 octaves lower with my left-hand second finger. That's going to be F, 2, 3, 4, step down to E flat, 2, and then D. I'm using third and fourth finger there. And then in the right hand up here above middle C, it's going to start with F and A together, then F and C. So 1 and 3, 1 and 5, and then right back to F and A. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the meantime, I'm just holding that F, and then we've got E flat here, G and B flat, using 1 and 3, and then stepping down to my fourth finger on the left, G and B. So just that B flat can come up to B natural. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, something in. Okay, then we are in the verse. Here are the chords for the verses. We're going to start out on C, and this is an inversion. On a C here, we got G, C, that's middle C, and E, and then 2 octaves lower with my fifth finger, I'm going to do that C bass note. So that's C, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4. Then we've got this C major 7 over G. All that needs to happen in the right hand is this C is going to drop to B with my second finger, and in my left hand, I'm going to come up to my first finger on G, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get a little rhythm going with the right hand. I'm going to play on counts 1 and 3 of every measure. So the C chord would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Something in the way she moves. Okay, let's keep going. Now we've got this C7. So continuing the pattern of just the middle note of this chord voicing in the right hand, just stepping down a half step. So we got G, B flat, and E here, and I'm going back down to the C bass note. Attracts me like no other lover. Okay, so for this F chord, coming up to my second finger on the F bass line, and then we've got A, C, and F in the right hand. I'm using my second finger on the middle C there. And in the second measure of F here, we're going to step down to F over E for the second half of that measure. And that's just going to be the hit on count 3 of that measure. So the 2 measures of F will be F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, F over E, walking down to this D7. Now this is a really smooth transition here where these 2 notes are the same. We basically just sharped this F up to an F sharp while switching to a D bass note in the left hand. Something in the way she woos me. Love this part. So gonna just kind of hop the hands up a little bit. I'm gonna move my fifth finger here to this G. And then we're doing an inversion on a G in the right hand, just like the F we just did, but a step higher. B, D, and G. 2 counts of that, so of course just 1 piano hit given the rhythm we're doing. For this A minor 7, all the chords in this 2 measures, we're going to keep the 5th finger on the top G. And for the A, we're just going to take these 2 notes and pop them down 1. So the left hand, of course, steps up to the A bass note. And then for the G over B, the right hand's going to go right back to where it was, but the left hand's going to keep stepping up to the B. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me sing through those 3 lines, and I might just start adding in a little bit more rhythm in the left hand, hitting on count 4. I'm not going to do it every time necessarily, just can be loose with it. So it'd be something like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So just gives a little bit more movement. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover. Something in the way she woos me.
Sweet, let's do the next line, which I love. That's of course going to be,
I don't want to leave her now. You know I believe in how.
so we're going to come up to this root position A here, above middle C, A, C, and E, using my 5th finger here on the lower A. And for this section, I'm playing on every count, staccato quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't want to leave her now.
So for this A flat augmented over E, we're coming up to that E for the left hand bass note, and then all we're doing in the right hand is just flatting that A down to an A flat. So A flat, C, E, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to continue that chromatic walk down. That's a theme in the song, a lot of chromatic walk downs. Really cool. So now we're back to the A bass note, still got the C and E, but now our thumb is on G. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now for this D9, again, we can just keep these top 2 notes and then come to this F sharp. I'm gonna just hop my hand down to the D bass note. D, 2, 3, 4.
Don't want to leave her now. You know I believe and how.
2, 3, 4. And then there's 2 more measures here. Let's just put them there. This is just the intro again. So after you know I believe in how. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Somewhere in her smile. So that would be going into the next verse. So that's the core of the verse. And the verses make up like 80% of the song. You could play it just like I just did and do your whole cover like that. But I'm now going to start filling in some of that optional bass line stuff. Some of these components are easier than others, so you might want to just take the catchiest, easiest parts and not do all the details. Also, I'm not going to do every single variation of the bass line that Paul does. He establishes a thing in the first verse that I'm going to show you, but then he just does little variations throughout the whole rest of the song, and I'm mostly going to stick with what he does in the first verse. The very first thing that happens is maybe the trickiest and the most optional, and that's going to be the
something in the way she moves.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So we need to think in eighth notes, dividing the beat in half, thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1. And then on beat 2, we're going to come back down. Then we're just going to step up E, F on the way up to the G for that C major 7 over G. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2, 3, 4. And you might want to just skip the high octave thing, but still do the 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Love that part. Just a little eighth note. I'm just going to cross my second finger over to the G, A, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3,
4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
So again, you can, if you can coordinate it with the singing, it's tough. You can do that high octave, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. And then this rhythm follows what we did before. 2, 3, 4. But this time it just steps up C, D, F, so it doesn't skip any notes and just lands on the F.
Attracts me like no other lover.
So before we get to the F over E, there's another little hook on the 8th note. This time it goes from the F to the G and back to the F. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? On the D7, it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So same rhythm again, leaping up to the high octave D if you want there, and then 2, 3, 4, and that is just skipping up a D major triad. D, F sharp, A. Then for the G, A minor 7, G over B. You can just keep it simple like that. Paul does hit the bass on every 8th note there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. I might mix and match. Sometimes like you can do that in the right hand just to get that effect. So play around with it. I also want to mention the variation he does in the 2nd verse on the D7. Instead of doing the high octave, he does something that sounds like this.
Something in the way she woos me.
So just sticking again within that D major triad, and the rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, F sharp, A, D. The bass line on this 4th line is really cool, though it's pretty tricky. It's going to sound like this. So we've got A, 2, 3, 4. So on the 4th beat, we're going to get to that E a little early. And if you want, you can even do a little grace note on the D because Paul slides it there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then on count 1, that's where the right hand goes to the A flat augmented. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So this is so cool. On the and after 1, we're gonna just cross our 2nd finger over to the F, and then we're just gonna step down on every 8th note all the way to the A. 4, 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm gonna cross my thumb under to hit that A on beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now we're gonna go to the G here with our 2nd finger. 1, 2, 3, and now on beat 4 you can hit this A. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down to the D, 2, 3, and you can do one more kind of passing note on E on the way up to the F on beat 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm going to do that whole first verse one more time with all of those details. Just a couple notes on those high octaves. Again, I think those are the most optional, and he doesn't always do the same rhythm. I showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, but throughout the song, sometimes he goes up earlier and does more of those 8th notes, so you can play it loose if you want. And I'm going to do the variation where the D goes up like that, but for subsequent verses in my version, I'll use that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2,
3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be going into the next verse. So that next verse is like the other one, except for the words are different. But then at the end, we're going to be transitioning into the bridge. And this is what that last line, looks like at the end of the second verse. So after "you know I believe in how," it's going to sound like this. So at its core, instead of going down to the C, we're gonna, after the G, we're gonna hop up to A and C sharp here. And we're gonna last for 2 measures on this A chord. And I'm gonna hop my left hand up to put my first finger on A. Now, Paul, this happens twice in the song, and both times Paul is just playing around on the notes of this A major triad, A, C sharp, and E. If you want to keep it simpler, you could just sort of do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, just hitting each note twice on quarter notes. So you can keep it simple like that. I'm going to do this. So really active, just playing on every single 8th note. It's going to be A, 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 A. So 1 and 2, and then we got C sharp, A, E, A. So kind of back and forth. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then for the second half of this, we've got C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, da, 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 da. So 1 and 2 and then on count 3, you hit that C sharp one more time before stepping up chromatically to the E. C sharp, D, D sharp, E. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so the whole thing there is going to be. You're asking me. Okay, so now we are in the bridge. Love this section. Here are the chords for that. We'll do the full bass line in a minute, but for now, we're gonna go back and forth in the left hand between the root and then an E. So for the A chord, we're gonna do the A root 2, and we're gonna hit every count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2 on the root, 3, 4 on the E. That's going to be true for all of these chords. And so A, C sharp, and E, just a root position in the right hand. And it lasts a measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, all that needs to happen to get to the C sharp minor over G sharp is the A's need to step down to G sharps. 1, 2, 3, 4. So see, we're going to continue that pattern of doing bottom, bottom, E, E, and left. 1, 2, you're asking me, will my love. Okay, so for the F sharp minor, we're gonna do it like this. A, C sharp, and F sharp, and once again, F, F, E, E. Now A over E, it's gonna look like that. So we're right back to that root position A, we step down to the low E, and then we're gonna do the high E octave. You're asking me, will my love grow? I don't know. Okay, so now we're to this D. I'm gonna come all the way to the D, and this bottom top pattern stops here. So D, and then A, D, and F sharp here. 1, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna keep my third finger on D and do B, D, G, coming up to my second finger here for the G bass note. I don't know. Then we get back up to that A. A nice little detail on the second half of that measure of D is to come up to an F bass note, so I guess a D over F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really uplifting sound on the way to G, 2, 3, 4, A. So that's what the asterisks are about. I didn't want to put in every slash chord, but we're going to just step down chromatically here every single note on the way to E. The rhythm's a little tricky. You can probably get it by ear if you know the song, but here are the counts. We're going to play on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The second half is essentially the same thing again. You stick around now, it may show. I don't know. So that's the same. And then we've got no. So this time we go to the C, and it's the same rhythm, the 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4. But this time we're just stepping down the white keys. Again, I'm using octaves. If you can't make that stretch, you could do single notes. Same thing for when it's on the A. But we've got every single white key, except we're going to skip the F. So C, B, A, G, E, D, before landing in another verse for the guitar solo. One thing I like to throw in that the bass doesn't do, but you can faintly hear it in the strings, is getting up to that last C. I don't know. For the second half of the G measure, you can do G2, G over B, 4. So anyway, I'm going to add one more detail. This is optional. That's going to be embellishing the bass line to the full. So instead of just coming up to the E for beats 3 and 4 of each measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4, E, F sharp, E, just crossing the second finger over, and it's going to do that for all of the chords in the first and third lines like before. Let me play through that whole bridge. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're asking me, will my love grow? I don't know. I don't know. You stick around now, it may show. I don't know. I don't know. So now we're in another verse, and we're pretty much done with the song now. After the guitar solo, which, like I said, is just another verse, we have the fourth verse, same as the other verses, different lyrics, and then we've got the outro, which starts right when we hit the, right after the, you know I believe in how. So here are the chords for the outro. We have one line where it's like what happened right before we went to the bridge, where it goes to the A. I'm just going to do that same fancy bass line again. Paul does something really similar but slightly different, but I learned the first one and I like that, so I'm going to stick with that. But again, you could keep it really simple and just do, or something like that, whatever you feel. And then it goes around again. And just ends like that on a C, although this is a different inversion of C than we've been doing. We've got the E, G, and C on top. That sounds really final. We hear that higher C note. Let it ring out, and then the song is over. Okay, thank you for sticking with me. I am now going to do a full play and sing through so you can see how all the parts we've been talking about fit together. I'm going to mix and match the bass line options a little bit, but for the verses, for the most part, I'm going to do the full bass line. But again, don't be intimidated. You can totally keep it simple like I showed you at first. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and click the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this one. Okay, Here is my version of Something.
Something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover. Something in the way she woos me. I don't wanna leave her now. You know I believe in how somewhere in a smile she knows that I don't need no other lover. Something in a style that shows me I don't wanna leave her now. You know I believe in how you're asking me, will my love grow? I don't know. I don't know. You stick around now, it may show. I don't know. I don't know. Something in the way she knows, and all I have to do is think of her. Something in the things she shows me I don't wanna leave